right-hand corner. This is going to be a red Terran from currently no team, right? He's still teamless, which is kind of wild. It's GuMiho. Top left, our blue Zerg from Onside Gaming, Solar. Alright, game number 1 of the best 3, Grezvan, which we know is a good map. It is a good kind of macro map. I mean, you really can do, take your pick on this one. Grezvan really feels like it lends itself to so many different styles of games, and I guess that in a big way is kind of coming down to the expansion patterns available and so on. There's definitely a few different ways you can take the kind of the route of expanding on this map, and it really does make a big difference as to how it works out from there. So, very cool. I like it. I've always enjoyed Grezvan since I joined the map pool. I felt like it was a pretty solid map. It's always kind of found its way into best of 3s, right, as well, so it's always been there. It's always been seen as popular amongst the players. No one's really felt like it's particularly broken in one way or another. So, yeah, go Grezvan. Overlord comes down the left-hand side, another Overlord through the center. It's making our way across. A couple workers jumping into that extractor. A couple of refineries coming up from GuMiho. Overlord continues to go down towards the bottom right-hand side. CC still coming up. The rack still coming through. I was going to see our CC finishing. Orbital's on the way on both sides of the main and natural. Obviously with that CC first, a little bit more eco-focus from GuMiho just to get things underway. Just a little bit of an economy injection in the very first few moments to get all of that started up, and we'll see where we go from here as our Reaper comes around this natural expansion. Going to hop up the right-hand side and just check what's going on up over here as well. Factory is coming through. The SCVs are producing. Now Reaper hops back up to the high ground and now back to the low ground as we continue to just check around. I don't know what you would do checking the high ground for actually with the Reaper, but maybe if there's an Overlord there already or something. Maybe he's just moving it around. Anyways, whatever. Wardy, any insight on why we haven't seen much of Inno or TY recently? My sad guess would be that they probably just decided not to continue playing. I think TY is playing a lot of Brood War. I think Innovation might only try and play in GSLs, or he might just have played in that first GSL and been like, nah, I don't feel like practicing back up to a high level, and just decided to move on. He wasn't decided whether he was coming back or not, as far as I'm aware, with Innovation, so we'll see though. Next GSL qualifiers is generally a pretty good sign as to who's playing and who's not. Stats as well has not really been playing recently, so yeah, not seen Stats online in a while, I don't think, so yeah, we'll see. Madomax92, thank you so much for the Prime sub, really appreciate it. I know we had this wonderful month or so where like Innovation, Stats were back playing in tournaments and this and that, and it was like, oh, it's so exciting, it's so cool. And then they just kind of stopped playing online things, and they had GSL, and they did okay in GSL, right? I wouldn't say it was an abysmal performance. Making it into GSL even was kind of cool. And it felt as though that was like, they lost in GSL, and that was like, okay, we're done with our comebacks. I haven't seen much of them since then, so. Viking will grab an Overlord kill here early, knocking that down as our orbital command will lift off. Going to move down to the low ground here. GuMiho is sitting at pretty comfortable supply, going into the Banshees as well. And with 2 more gases on the way, are we about to see some additional mech play on the back of these Banshees? I would say it's turned into a pretty likely scenario, as we do see the first factory coming down, so getting that started up right away here, make it a second. So that's 3 factories in total, obviously. I say first and second additional factories. As our Hellions come back through into the center, heading across the left-hand side. away they go. Viking just chilling. As we have our Hellions. Gonna drop a grenade down. Queen's taking some shots. Obviously, with these Banshees cloaking up, we're going to start seeing them deal some damage. We are already on just the one Banshee. We're going into number 2. I wonder if we're going to see more than the 2. I wonder if we see any Hyperfly Rotors, or if he's just very happy to play like Cloak Banshee as an opening, and then into the Battle Mech from there. Talon's coming around, a couple drones going down. Banshee can a few pickoffs for the moment. Come back over to the natural and begin to do exactly the same. Hellions around the top. We do have 5 drones going down. The Banshee, again, moving around the upper left. Just going to be seeing our Hellions coming through. A couple Zerglings coming in. Banshee will fire and again pick our way at a couple of additional drones, so extra damage being dealt. As our Hellions dive back over the left-hand side. Just going to be seeing the Roaches, putting in some hurt. And again, the Cyclone's coming up. As GuMiho continues into more Banshees as well. That was my question. It's going to be answered. It's always fun when you see the Banshees, because the Zerg's kind of like, what do? Do you build a Spire against the Banshees, but that's then also not so great against the rest of the Battle Mech? Unless you overwhelm, but obviously you're going to build a lot of Cyclones to support those Banshees, so that shouldn't really be a possibility. I always find that such a fascinating kind of concept of how you approach this. Dirty Bottoms, thank you so much for the 10-month resub on the Prime. I appreciate it. As our Hellions and our Cyclones move up through the center, gonna grab a Zergling initially. Middle is still building, a couple of more Evo Chambers coming out. Roach Speed is on the way in. A little scan coming up overhead and just seeing our Banshees still making their way around that bottom left-hand corner, so really coming through. Just journeying around a little bit. We do have our Banshees going to go for a couple of these drones already. Starting to pick in for a few of these. And the Mulas are going to come diving down this right-hand side as well, so they're going to go journeying too. It's going to see a couple of Cyclones getting locked on. Middlers will take a bit of a beating there with the Cyclone lock-ons. Now the Banshee's going to come back home to the bottom right, so they're going to respond back down over here. And the Middler's still kind of flying around the top side. Banshee's chilling in that lower right corner. Again, just Cyclones, extra factories, plus 2 vehicle weapons, all on the way. Our hatchery in the center is also on the way up, so let's get in that 5th hatch ready to rumble. So far then, the Mutalisks kind of taking some of the map control back away from GuMiho. Although GuMiho is not going to stand for that for too long. Starting to push forward now. You just have 1-1 upgrades on these mech units. The attack doesn't have a big issue or a big change because Cyclones are the real damage dealers here. And their ability is a spell. It's an ability. That's the main way they deal damage, so that's not affected by the attack upgrades. Pushing straight through, just going to be seeing some of these creep tumors do begin to drop. Additional Cyclones still building in, and the Banshees on the left-hand side going to go through a whole bunch of Banelings already, so a lot of Banes beginning to drop down dead here. Banshees will cloak. Do they have the distance from the Overseer? Wow, they actually are going to get away without losing one. Really nice. Well, mech is all well and good until they can't end the game. What I'm trying to say is that it's really good to, it's okay to look good with mech, but you've got a long way to go, right? A lot of the time, mech gets into fantastic positions and just can't close the game out, and the Zerg drags themselves back into it. So we'll see if that's something. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily that GuMiho's in that position now where he should just be able to win the game or anything, but he's doing things that feel good, right? He's denying creep spread a little bit. He's keeping control of the map. It feels like it's been fairly successful from him. He's traded wonderfully. Look at that, 6 to 7 units lost to the 6, and yes, a lot of those units lost will be you know, Lings and so on. And some Banes, obviously a bunch of drones. It's been extremely cost efficient from GuMiho. It's a great start, but like I say, with mech, it's never over until you get the opponent to GG. You have so much work to put in still to keep on moving through at the moment. We will see how Cyclone's locking in for. I mean, that's just a pretty much guaranteed kill. Obviously, Magfield versus Structure is pretty good still. As Mutalisks will come and, well, try and jump onto these Cyclones now. Banshee's on the left-hand side, just getting a lot of free damage done before this bigger fight breaks out. We get rid of one of the Overseers. Okay, there's actually 3 left. I thought there was only 1 left. I was like, maybe if he gets the other one, the Banshees can come back on top of this army and just sit there. Obviously, with the Mutalist, that's going to change. We do eat a bile, as we have to kite away from the Banelings. The Banshees also decide they're going to back it up too. More biles, you have to dodge away from those as GuMiho. You cannot just go running in heads first. You know, head first, arms open, or anything like that. +3 vehicle weapons, +3 vehicle plating. The Cyclones all coming through, additional barracks, and the Ghost Academy coming up. Still on Mutalisks. Over on the side, we have ourselves GuMiho into the center of the map. As our Hellions going to work their way through a lot of these Zerglings. Cyclone's going to continue to pull back here. A couple of Banes trying to come through. Cyclones do just lock on. The Mutalisks take a lot of damage. Banshees continue to just pull away. Obviously, they do add some good damage, these Banshees. Just a few shots here and there, helping to get rid of units before they connect. Obviously, a little bit of overkill when they all target the same Baneling, but the general idea of them is fantastic, and Solar is just still bleeding out units. Resources lost about a 3k difference. The thing is, we don't really see Solar in a... I mean, you see Solar kind of like at 82 versus 85 workers, right? So he's not like in a massive eco lead. So usually when you're trading worse against a Terran, it's fine, because you make up for that with your additional income. He doesn't have additional income, right? GuMiho has the additional income. GuMiho has the base to use these workers as well, so it's not like Solar is still kind of leading or anything. He's had minor advantages here and there as I guess GuMiho transfers around and stuff, but in general, it's not necessarily enough. I'm actually surprised that it is so Solar favored, although you look at these numbers, obviously these graphs can look big differences, but these are like peaks of like 750 resources per minute. And right now Solar's sitting at about 250 resources per minute advantage. So yeah, definitely a not that big of a lead. Banes, Roaches, Lings, Ravages. A couple more shots off. Gonna go knock our way through this set of rocks as well as our Cyclones. Knock down a Spine Crawler. Gonna work through the hatchery. Base will go down. There's one thing GuMiho's done well. Denying a couple of these bases a few times over has been nice for him. Slows down the Zerg quite a bit as our Cyclones lock in again. It's going to be nice. Going to get a lot of Mutalisks there. We're kind of past the muta phase of the game anyways. I feel like maybe even freeing up the supply might actually be an aid to Solar at this stage. Well, Cyclone still locking on. Siege tank firing. Do you have our Hellbats taking damage as our Brood Lords? I mean, they're a nice addition. They're really something that's going to catch GuMiho that little bit off guard. Not quite ready to deal with this properly, as the Brood Lords are going to get a pushback on this initial mech army. First Thor starts up, but GuMiho's actually maxed, so actually affording more than that first Thor is very difficult. Cyclone's still spreading out our tanks. Gonna take a few losses. Banshee's still coming down. It's gonna be seen our Banelings rolling through. There's Banshees up in the sky, still trying to figure out what they want to do for the best here as our Banes work their way over the once more Brood Lords pressing forward, and we're just gonna see them dropping down some Broodlings onto the ghosts there. So again, get a good bit of damage done as our Banelings are going to crash into and kill off that planetary fortress, so that will go down. Extra Thors on the way, the Ravages and the Lings, the Viper as well, continuing through. 14 more Banelings coming out at the moment from Solar. It's a lot more Banes on the way. That's going to be seen how Ghost still producing. The nuke is on the way up. Out of GuMiho as well, just help to get even more map control, zone control especially. And just something else that GuMiho has to keep Solar has to keep track of throughout, right? If suddenly nukes start dropping, you can't just ignore those and be like, it'll be fine. Nuh-uh. Doesn't exactly work like that, so yeah, you gotta be a little cautious in that regard at the very least. Banes, Roaches, Ravages continuing through. I see a couple of snipes coming down. Broodlord's taking some shots. Thor's going to begin pressing forward, and the Lings are going to come flooding through here. The Ghost will turn, try and battle. We're just going to be seeing the Hellbats still on the top side, doing pretty decently for themselves. Both of those Thors getting knocked down. Ghost getting some snipes off. Ravages are being dropped. Hellbats holding out on the top side. Lings are still taking a bunch of hits. Let's see now our Hellbats continue to drop here. Roaches, Queens. Knocking those Hellbats down in the top side. We do see Roaches getting rid of even more Hellbats. I mean, honestly, for GuMiho, you're getting rid of some drones. I feel like you're always okay about that. Solar straight up rebuilds the drones, though. He clearly wants to stay up there. GuMiho has actually only got 175 supply and doesn't have too much bank to remax with, so... Well, I mean, it's kind of weird, because now obviously you're kind of fighting with 20 supply less than you could have. I guess he's not really fighting more so than he's just setting up a defensive position. We're just at the point now where some of these defensive positions that Terran takes is really, encroaching the Zerg side of the map. Right now, for sure, just pushing back on that creep a little. He's definitely applying a bit of pressure, is definitely putting on a little bit of hurt. Snipes line up, Roaches get taken out. Just drop in, first siege tank falls. Which is still pulling away down the bottom side. Just gonna see how Thor's in the center. Hellbats too. This army of Solar moving around the back of this mineral line through the center of the map. Thors and Hellbats coming up at the top. The Ghosts as well. Still looking pretty decent across the board, I would say, as we have a +3 attack upgrade. Going to be finishing in a second here. Just going to be seeing the Hellbats clearing up a couple more creep tumors. Just going to be seeing the Blinding Cloud and knock some of the Ghosts back a little bit. Banes and Roaches and Ravages keep on moving through. The Bane's going to crash in for a couple of those Hellbats as well. The Ghost's going to have to keep on running. Doing a pretty decent job of it so far. Solar, he's going to lose a lot on the exit as well, I think, is the main thing to note, right? At least I thought he was. I thought some of these snipes would have come through, but it doesn't quite happen. He morphs in 88 new Zerglings, and a huge round of Banelings has got to be an expectation here. If we don't get a big round of Banes off, then I don't know what these things are for, because there are still Hellbats. They still exist. 44 Banelings do indeed morph in. We're going to lose this base yet again. That has been a weak point for Solar throughout this entire game, honestly. Let's knock down a Sporg. Siege tank is taking some heavy fire. Corrosive Bars dropping down here, there, and everywhere. And still seeing this army of Solar just rampaging around. The Banelings are going to go chasing. The Ghosts are taking hits. Ravages will pick off the Thor up to the top and just going to be seeing the rest of these Ghosts coming back through the center. Just pushing everything back. Solar supply dipping heavily. Solar's bank is getting worked through, man. GuMiho is putting some pain on it. 14,000 resource loss difference favoring GuMiho. That has been some very good trades for him in recent times. That is for sure. He has been trading extremely well here. As the Hellions come through, the Lings will begin to take quite a chunk of damage. Hellions morph into Hellbats. Roaches taking some extra hits. Just going to be seeing the barracks still floating overhead. And the Lings are going to wrap around. Hellions taking a lot of damage for the moment. 11 Infestors currently producing still. Thor coming up, +3 flyer attacks. Neural Parasite. Again, just a lot of different additions being brought on through here as Solar comes around the left side. A chunk of extra Banes morph in. That's coming out to the bottom. Just going to be seeing Thor still hitting a couple shots off. Creep spread being denied. We still have Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager. Just taking some shots. Do you have a Hellbats going after some of this creep spread as well? So it's working on that. Moving our armies around. Just going to roll some Banes in towards Hellbats. Or even love that as Solar. Probably not too much. Gas units for minerals. It's pretty much always going to be something GuMiho looks at and smiles about. Extra missile turrets are on the way in as well, just so, again, GuMiho solidifying his locations. I went into this, I said, hey guys, we might be in for a long one today. Well, we were definitely not wrong about that. We are in for a long one. Some ghosts come sniping through. Well, chunk of drones going down. Our medevacs will evacuate them. Back through the top. They are going to head as our extra siege tanks come up to the top. Then Roach, Ravager, Bane down to the south side as our overseers still flying around. Miss SE2, thank you so much for the 5-month resub on the Primus Solar. We'll have Neurals to potentially help this fight. The first time getting Neural, but the Infestor doesn't last very long. Such feels so expensive for Solar. So many Banes crashing into what doesn't feel like a lot of uses. And the Ghosts drop out of the Medivacs at the tail end of this. You've got to be careful of some fungals, but I mean, if they get there and they get a bunch of snipes off, there is so much value to be had. Now GuMiho is taking this base that Solar's had a few times over. GuMiho has been very good about continually denying this location, actually. A few drones get shot down. We will be seeing our tanks, Hellions, CC still coming over. Hellions come across, just going to run in. These Zerglings going to run straight through for a couple of these siege tanks. A bunch of these tanks taking damage immediately. Well, that was actually a lot of tanks going down. Still doing a good job clearing up the top and keeping that base on his kind of own control. At least continue to mine it out for the moment. So we're getting to the point where these final bases are going to begin to matter a lot. Hellions moving forward. Ghost coming through. Hellions going to morph into Hellbats. That's a fungal. Oh, we do get a massive EMP though. There's not going to be any Infestor energy left following that. So this would be a time for GuMiho to kind of pick up and go. Because he has just taken out one of the biggest threats of this Zerg army. In those Infestors, they are no longer as valuable as they once were. They are going to take a little while to rebuild that energy count up. So, GuMiho will take control of the map a little bit. He's going to actually make a play down to the bottom. Wouldn't blame him for just going down to the south side because he wants to establish that 6 o'clock base. This might be his best chance in a little while. And there's so much creep around, by the way. That's crazy. As our Thors continue through, a lot of this creep spread being knocked down already. Hellbats pushing things back. Our Ghosts need to be a little careful. Couple siege tanks still producing through. Our +3 armor is not far from completing. CC lifts off, going to move through this top side. Both still joined together. Lane's going through the middle. Well, Hellbats, Thor, all setting up. This army of Solar is thinking about pulling the trigger once again. Another of these larger fights is seemingly but moments away from truly breaking out, perhaps. We'll start heading back up north. The CC is moving to a planetary next to this hatchery. SCVs are trying to kill it as well. Snipes going down. Lings are getting hit. Let's see our army coming back around for the moment, heading back down to the bottom. And 4 SCVs getting knocked for the moment. As our medevacs load up once again. Let's continue through. Another fungal growth comes down. Just going to be seeing those ghosts getting grabbed. Lings are still moving forward. Solar trying to get towards those couple of ghosts. He's going to make a round of Corruptors. This time to switch this back toward some Broodlords. There's 3 Thors on the map, but maybe this could be a play. He's got a bit of gas to do it with. Goes a ball, gonna knock down a couple of Hellbats. Hellbats, Thors, and Ghosts continue up the left-hand side. Gonna knock down the Spine Crawl, gonna continue up. Yo, Parabites, thank you so much for the 50-month resub. Appreciate it, dude. Thanks for the kind words. Hellbats and Ghosts are gonna continue forward. Solar, by the way, is out of money. Rebuilding is not an option beyond these Broodlords. GuMiho's gonna go. He wants to get rid of them right now. He's gonna get rid of one. He's gonna get rid of... Well, he's gonna force a cancel on a few. The rest of them here are still not quite ready either. Can these ghosts actually do something? Getting some snipe stuff. They were lining up on the Corruptors. Do we not want to cancel the Broods? That feels like the most important thing to me. Get rid of those Broodlords. They are the biggest threat to you right now. He has decided to start doing that towards the end. And in the end, we have to back this up a little bit. We might even need to evacuate some of these ghosts a little further. The Thors are just sat here. Now they're going to decide to drop down again. You got to be careful of those infestors, but seemingly we do not have the energy necessary. GuMiho gets the GG out of Solar as he bled him dry of resources. GG's. More action is in the bottom left. Our red Terran is going to be GuMiho. On the top right, our blue Zerg is going to be Solar. Game number 2 as we kick this off. Edge guess. Soon to be a spawning pool. Racks coming up to get it underway. Nice haircut, Wardy. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Gonna be seeing our pull coming up, a hatch coming down. Oh, good to just kind of reset a little bit after a crazy mech game, really. GuMiho just holding out for a long time. I said it at minute 10 or so. It's like, it felt like a very good start for GuMiho, but there was no clear path to him being extremely successful. As we have Queens coming up. I think this is where they're showing the logos on the Chinese stream, guys. We don't have the logos package installed, so we just see blank space. It always looks a bit funny. Couple links coming around, a few drones coming in. Queen, CC, orbital. That's gonna be seeing our Queen. Gonna pop the Reaper about a little bit. We move around slightly. How's our Reaper gonna go and nibble at the hatchery? And a couple of Hellions. Just gonna continue through. Starport coming in. Command Center coming up. We're seeing our CC coming online. I'm just going to be seeing the link speed going through too. So far so good. Everything pretty comfortable, pretty cozy. Nothing too wild to start out with, as our Hellions and the Reaper will just come out the front. A couple more Hellions coming out. Link speed still producing. All looking good for the moment as that Banshee starts up on that starport. A Marine is on the way. CC finishes in the main base of GuMiho. And again, the few Hellions and the Reaper of GuMiho are going to be off and away, journeying across to the other side of the map. Moving on up to the top. A couple of Hellions will nibble at that creep teamer a little bit as our Reaper hops in to try and maybe get something done. Big question for me is, are we going to see, 2 more gases and a bit of mech? No, we're not. Stimpack starts right away now. Rain's gonna grab the Ovi, knock that down here, and Banshee's still chilling over to the left-hand side. Stimpak coming through, Banshee on the way. I'm just gonna be seeing the again, Bane Nest all coming through for the moment. I mean, obviously much more just comfortable game to start this one out. And just coming around the left, just gonna keep on moving around. Stem, R11. Coming through. I'm just gonna be seeing a couple of racks continue out. Extra depots coming in. The Hellions just to move around that right side. Baneland speed is coming into play, getting that started. So you actually do get a couple of drones straight away. Alright, well, a couple drones is nice. Anything you can shave off the Zerg player is pretty decent. I do love that GuMiho is confident enough to play bio, and he's pretty darn good at his bio play as well. I think when GuMiho came back from military, a lot of us really expected him to be, oh, he's gonna mech all the time, right? Like, especially if you're just coming back and all of this and that. Like, meching has got to be one of these things you kind of look toward. But I feel like the reality is actually that he's been very good at just doing a lot of different things ever since he returned. It's so cool to see him just, be able to go still into these kind of mech plays. One of the few plays that makes mech look good, like, is GuMiho. But then is also so competent in bio that he can be a real threat. I remember when he, maybe not when he first came back, but taking on some, Dark a few times, and I was like, man, surely he's just going to try and mech. And he just, like, beat Dark 2-0 with bio, and I'm like, oh my god, GuMiho's so sick. It's always cool to see us right now. Again, good start. 5 drones, and Overlord hasn't lost a thing. He's got Hellbats able to come into play. And while he didn't deal a lot of damage, his first pushes here are going to be that much scarier for having kept everything alive. The Banshees can loop back around and try and cancel that base. The Hellbats will protect the first group of Marines, for example. And this is all going to create controlling kind of areas of the map for him. But he's just going to be feeling much more comfortable than he would be otherwise, had he not been so careful with these units at first. We're going to go for the Spore in the evacuation. It was actually much closer than I think GuMiho would have liked it to have been. But he does get out of there alive. Looks like we lost a Banshee as a few Queens came around the bottom and got onto their locations. So, one Banshee drops. Now we see GuMiho maybe bleeding out a couple of units, but has been putting some good work into, again, slowing down the kind of control of the map that Solar has been looking to gain. So, again, the more you slow that down, the happier and the better off you're going to be feeling. 3 more barracks. As you see, oh, massive stim. He's going to pull back over here. Oh, his siege tanks are caught. Great catch for Solar. Talk about removing some of the biggest threats that you can. That is a huge, huge position to break. Is just going to be seeing our Rex coming up, the infestation pit coming down. Marine still down to the bottom side. Going to push away at a couple more of these Zerglings. Two upgrades. Building from GuMiho here as well, as we do see our Marines back in the center. Lings taking some extra damage. Marines going to go all the way out the left-hand side. Just going to be seeing the other Queens coming back down over here. Creep spread will begin to go through the center, so just pushing that creep out. She's going to get a little bit of a catch in the center, but the Marines get jumped on by the Banelings there, so this time GuMiho wasn't fast enough to get away. There's the center, going to grab ourselves the siege tank. Those Marines is going to go behind the hatchery, behind that gold base. Solar again to a more comfortable position himself. The Lurker Den. Something that I would say is almost Solar's special move, right? He is so good when it gets to the kind of Lingbane Lurker stage of the game. He is very comfortable there. See how he looks today as these Marines put a bit more pressure on the left side. Just going to be pushed back by this little bit of Lingbane. This time we do lift up for the moment. Still push up this right-hand side. A couple of these creep teamers going down, and Marines will pull back. As Lings and Banes. It's going to come through the Bane lanes. They're going to go for these Marines. They're going to give it their best shots. Marines continue to stem back. We will continue to get out of the way. I'm just going to be seeing our Hydra still coming through. Lots lost from GuMiho. I think Solar has just done way too much here. As we're going to be seeing these medevacs continue to get pushed back. Siege tank is going to get knocked down. And that is going to be, I think at this point, too much. Solar is going to tie us up. We're going to go to game number 3. We're going to go the distance. Hell yeah. All right. This has been a good series. Bottom right says our red Terran player. It is going to be GuMiho. And the top left, our blue Zerg Solar from Onside Gaming. Hatch just chilling in the upper left-hand side. We're just going to be seeing our Terran in the bottom right, GuMiho. See what he can bring us. He was doing okay in that last game, just couldn't really kind of... I think the big issue was losing his tanks on his first push really meant that Solar took a bit of an edge, and Solar with an edge really went through to do a lot from there as well. So, I guess we'll see what's going to happen. Whoever's moving around, thank you so much, Heaton31, for the 25-month resub on the Prime as well. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. There's our CC, our factory, all coming into play. Tipo is on the way up as we just see, a couple of queens on the way through. Factory CC all coming along. GuMiho is obviously, like I say, he did have like good activity on the last game. Is it too scary for him to play bio again just for that? I mean, this is a good bio map. It's a good pushing map. I think he definitely can just go for it again. I was just wondering because I was like, man, obviously you had a mech game that's kind of long, works out for you. I think playing mech on this map's just a little tough. Not impossible. It's a fun question. It is a fun question. A couple of Hellions will hang out on the far right. There's a few Marines. Just going to be coming through. We have our Link Speed coming up. A couple of Ovies are still producing. As that Marine's going to go and nab at this Overlord. So Overlord taking some shots. Medevac and Marines making its way out across the map. So 5 of them going to journey to the upper left-hand side. And a couple more Hellions coming out. Tech Lab, Depot, SCV is all producing. Link Speed is still coming through. Queens and Lings are still on the way. These Marines are going to find an Overlord in the center. Going to go and take this on nice and swiftly. Going to knock that down. Or not. or just don't. That's fine. Hellions have to try and dive at the same time. Just going to try and get in. But the Lings are there to defend. A good multi-pronged defense from Solar. Minimizing losses so far. 2 Hellions and 2 Marines down. He has lost a Queen and 10 Lings. So it's not been the cleanest. But the most important part is that you've not taken any drone damage, right? Yeah, we lost the second Queen to the Marines. So actually, it is kind of adding up a little bit. 3 Hellions in this main base. Could be scary. The limited amount of Lings trying to make their way through for the moment. Oh, we lose the medevac. So everything gets killed. So that is going to be the end of this attack. Banshee's still chilling in the center. I think he's actually going to get a wrap around here. Hellion's going to be in some trouble. He's going to get caught pretty quickly. And as you just have our Stim still on the way up, our Marine coming through. So Overlord still having a little bit of a scout in. Try and see just what is going on. Our Marine picking its way through that Ovi. Overlord will go down. Hellions still make their way through the top side. Going to be met by Queens pretty quickly. Queen's going to turn that around, though. He's going to come through. Rock's going to be taking some damage. Hellions back down to the bottom. CC lands up, couple of mills gonna get back. It's gonna be seeing our 1-1 melee upgrades, our balance speed all coming through for the moment. As our starport is gonna go over and land onto a reactor. Just getting that up and rolling. We have our 6 additional racks being built, and the Overseer from Solar wanting a little bit of a scout into the base. Drop down the Changeling. I'm just going to get here. Queen's going to get rid of one of these Banshees straight away. Just going to get knocked down. A couple of Creep Tumors will drop in. Hellions back on the right-hand side. Knocking down a couple of Creep Tumors here and there as well. A Hydraless Den about halfway done. So seeing Solar head towards that Lingbane Hydra Force once more. And she gets one lane, gonna keep it pushed away. Armor upgrade coming through, still getting that combat shield brought up as well. I'm just going to be seeing the melee upgrades. Finishing soon from Solar. GuMiho will have a little bit of a time with 1-1. Not sure if he's really going to be able to get across and do much here, though. Doesn't really seem like it. I mean, not with the 1-1 upgrade at least. He is going to move across the map, but whether he's not going to attack before the upgrades are done from Solar. Just keep that in mind as our Hellions will get rid of a little bit of creep spread. 2-2 is on the way out. Bio setting up, Hellbat setting up as well. Gonna knock down a queen on the other side. Good little pick. Our combat shields is now about to finish, and we do have ourselves a couple more depots. We're setting up over here. Bioforce is gonna come moving forward. Things, Banes, Hydras all joined together, chilling out up the top side. Just seeing that muscular augments coming through. Infestation Pit is about to complete. Couple Lings going after the depot, and Banshee just sitting out over here. I'm worried a little bit that GuMiho's not making a lot of progress. He's just getting up to his 4th base now, and the creep spread is just looking... I guess it's a smaller map, so the creep looks great, but it's not as scary as it might seem. Like, one scan pretty much pushes it back to the bases, but Solar has it in every direction. It's going to be tough for GuMiho to find positions to push in quickly. Fire on the left is going to be seen. Our creep spread is going to be immediately in a little bit of trouble over here. There's probably some of the healthiest creep spread in this bottom corner. So it's definitely the easiest place to start with GuMiho because Solar's not going to defend it as heavily. Fire knocks that creep down, just clearing out in the front. Mauling Bane Hydra getting the set. Lings, Banes, Hydra's coming through. A couple Hellbats in the front, trying to tank up a little bit. We do have our Widow Mines lined up as well. Solar kind of flirting with the idea of engaging into this. GuMiho has gone himself, I mean, the one position down this round without some of that creep spread. Solar could, if he wanted to, come in from the left-hand side, get a little bit of a jump off that creep onto this army as well. Still waiting on some important upgrades, right? Adrenal Glands, Seismic Spines. As GuMiho's force is already kind of being taken down a little bit, and it's not really being replenished all that quickly at the moment. Fire coming through, the Ling Bane Hydra still coming across. Widowmine shot on the Overseers. As that Bane Lings and that Hydra's getting picked away, that Bioforce keeps on coming through. This Queen taking a lot of damage. Just going to be seeing the rest of our Bane still rolling forward. Widowmine goes in. Just going to be seeing our Overseer gets picked off. Still seeing the Medivacs overhead. Just going to be seeing our Adrenal Glands. He's also not far from completing. +1 missiles. Still seeing that lurker set of upgrades. This time Adaptive Talons now on the way, so they're going to be at full power very soon. GuMiho, what are we doing? Like, we're sat on mine, bio mine. There is not a Ghost Academy in sight. And he starts 3 more factories. We're going to try and play this into, like, tank. I would imagine we've got to play tank heavy. Is suddenly his plan. Well, Bio comes through. A couple Creep Tumors getting knocked immediately. And we are just going to be seeing the rest of that Bio unloading in the corner. Drone going down. Hatchery taking damage. Lings are going to come running forward. That Hatchery is going to fall. Hatchery has been dropped. Well, I mean, at least you're taking some wins as GuMiho. Solar I feel like he's in this point now where he's got to where he wants to be. His upgrades are in place and he's got the lurkers out. Will he start to make some dives on the map himself? It's been very much so about where GuMiho has been attacking so far this game. There absolutely could be time to look at where Solar wants to attack instead and see what he's going to try and do about a lot of these moves and about a lot of these positions. Medevac on the left side already going down. Ling Bane runs up the left side as well. Bioforce still through the center. Our Abduct in, gets the Medevac hit a couple times, but it doesn't drop. Still moving our way forward. A couple Widow Mines being set off by a single Ling or two. GuMiho now maxed out. I'm still terrified for the fact he's playing Bio. Okay, I mean, he is adding tanks in. Although, obviously, tanks counterable by Vipers. I'm just shocked to see no at least attempt or intention to go into Ghosts. Not sure what these little lag spikes are, guys. I don't know if that's just the Korean server acting up for me a little bit or what, but they are on my side, just to let you guys know I'm seeing those too. Obviously, if anything bad starts happening, I'll try and look further into it, but it just seems like a little intermittent thing at the moment as Lucas Burrow up here. Solar's going to run in the bottom left side, by the way. There's going to be units there, so he will not get very far. 4 Bio shots coming through. Lurkers continue to burrow up. Bio will continue to get pushed back. So Lurkers continue to put on some pretty good pressure. Star Army in the upper right-hand side. +1 vehicle weapons. Couple siege tanks, couple of medevacs. All being produced. We've got our Marines working around there as well. Ghost Academy starts actually now from GuMiho as well. Just going to get that up and running. And a few Marines still working their way through the hatch. So, hatchery taking some damage. Banes are going to keep rolling in. Lings and Hydras there to clean up. Nidus in the main base, one of those ways to kind of bypass the Terran's defenses and positions. And if that gets up and Lurkers get out, well, that could be scary. There's a couple units on it. The Lurkers will get out, and they will burrow. New Nidus will build to give them a backup plan. GuMiho darted through the center at the same time. He does have an astounding amount of bio. That's one of the benefits of how he's playing. That he just has so much at any point in time. Those Banelings do nothing. Tanks laying siege to them. Fantastic bomb still up in the skies. Queen still taking heavy damage. A lot more drones going down as well as these Lurkers continue to sit here, picking their way through the racks. Continues to do decently as we see our +3 melee, +2 missiles still coming out. Our Lurkers are going to position once again and just go a bit further forward. Tanks doing what they can. A few more of these Banelings continue to drop as you just see our Bioforce still taking shots. Lurkers still active in the main. This is not being dealt with at all, really, although that's a bit of a deeper dive. Just wants to get the Ghost Academy, I guess. Obviously, that's a pretty valuable target. Would be even more valuable if GuMiho was even thinking about building Ghosts, but I'm not sure he even cares about the Ghost Academy, man. He has been so high refusal in terms of Ghost building. Kind of to a surprising level as we see these Banes trailing in, and it's not super pretty from Solar. Obviously, not having the Lurkers in the main fights isn't going to make it easy for him, but I think he is, of course, slowly just whittling GuMiho down. Everyone has a lot of minerals in the bank, but of course a lot of his production's in trouble. He is rebuilding the Ghost Academy. Turns out he might actually want some ghosts. Who would have guessed it? Some ghosts in this situation? Ay, ay, ay. Bane Hydra still coming through. A couple of Vipers. Getting some blinding clouds down. We continue to roll on through. The Banes are still coming. The Lings are chasing. Another Nidus network coming into play. Our Banelings crash in for a few more Marines. That's GG. Solar takes 2-1 win over GuMiho. Pretty awesome series.